Good afternoon to you all. I hope that you are all doing well. مرحبا بكم في حصة جديدة، ولكن هذه المرة راح ننتقل من writing for the first year to the module of civilization. For the module of civilization, you will study how people used to live. حين تقرأوا كيف كانوا الناس يعيشوا في العصور الغابرة ولا العصور السابقة. And in order to study civilization, you need to feel like that. لازمكم تحسوا كما هؤلاء الأشخاص. You need to expose yourself to their facts, not yours. Although that you'll find something that it is contradicted to what you believe in. راح تلقى حوايج ساعات تتعاكس مع واش تؤمن به انت، ولكن لازمك تدرسها أو تصدقها كما كانوا هم يصدقوها باش تفهمها. And for the first year students, we will discuss the most ancient, or let's say it's the oldest civilization in the world. أكثر حضارة معناتها عمرت في العالم أو أقدم حضارة, which is the Sumerian civilization. The Sumerian civilization. Now I have to take you back in history. Before the Sumerian civilization, we had something called groups of people. People at that time, yes, they didn't have houses like we have now. They didn't have food. People at that time used to live in a barbaric way. Barbaric, it means that they used to hunt. People used to live on hunting. كانت الناس عايشة فقط على الاصطياد. ينتقلوا كمجموعات from a place to another, and they hunt. When they don't find enough animals, they move to another place. Now, do you think this is sufficient? Do you think this is enough? أكيد مش كافي. ما تبقاش تتنقل لأنه الإنسان طبيعته تجي فترة وين يستقر. So they decided to start something called farming villages. Farming villages, قرى زراعية. People started farming and creating agriculture, زراعة. They started making their food. And they do this in a place close to a river. We call it the river. In the ancient civilizations والحضارات القديمة تلقاها دائما كبرت من a river. Why? Good. Because of the water source. Because in order to cultivate, in order to start agriculture, you need water. Now, they start making some farming villages here. قرى زراعية. Here. Alongside of the river. تلقاها على طول الخط قرى زراعية close to the river because of the fertility of the land. خصوبة التربة. Now, those farming villages grew. The population increased. الناس زادت. And we arrived to what is called Sumerian civilization. Now, to call something a civilization, we need characteristics, خصائص. خصائص civilization هي واحدة منها workers, specialized workers. لازم يكون عندك عمال. For example, advanced cities. And we will take an example, or we will study about Ur, it was like the biggest city-state in the Sumerian civilization. الحضارة السومرية كانت هي أكبر مدينة. Why? Because it flourished along the river. كانت قريبة من النهر يقولوا the Euphrates هو نهر دجلة في العراق, in Iraq. So the city-state of Ur was the most flourishing one. It had the characteristics of a civilization. كان عندها خصائص civilization. It was an advanced city. Okay? It contained workers, specialized workers. Because people at that time, when they started producing food, now they can pursue something else. يقدروا يتابعوا مهن أخرى. ما يقدرش يكون فلاح. Because now he has food. ما عندوش problem. Now he will move to do something else, to be a specialized worker. For example, like a merchant, تاجر. For example, like an artisan, صانع الحرف. Like they make lavish jewelry. Jewelry هي معناتها القلائد, الذهب أو مجوهرات. They start do some kind of a commerce, تجارة, and so on. Now, the workers. You need workers, you need include what we can include in the workers also. We can include army people or the military, soldiers. Soldiers are from the workers. Priests are also workers. Priests هم الكهنة, okay? Now, we finished with workers. We will move to the institutions. The institutions are like the army. For example, it's like the institution is a governmental headquarters, for example هو مقر معناتها مقر حكومي, like the army, like the temple, المعبد اللي راح نشوفوه لأنه المعبد كان مهم ياسر لهم في العلاقة تاعهم مع الآلهة, the goddess or the gods. So we have the institutions also. In a civilization you find the workers, the institution, and you find technology. Back then, in the Sumerian civilization, they started producing technology like the plow. لأنه باش يقدر يمارس الزراعة بكثرة, they need technology like the plow, بحراث. They need sickles, المنشل. They need multiple things or multiple tools in order to cultivate the land. لأنه المصدر الأساسي في ذاك الوقت كان هو الزراعة. Okay? Now, when you use technology, you will have surpluses of food. راح تكون عندك اكتفاء. راح يكون عندك فائض. What do you do to that surplus or extra food? Good. You will take it and you will sell it. راح تبيعه. You sell it to another place or another countries at that time. Because at that time we didn't have country. كانش عندنا concept تاع الدولة. ولكن we had the concept of city-state. City-state هي عبارة عن مدينة كبيرة. It has its own king, حاكم تاعها. كل state فيها king, an army, a temple, gods, and so on. And also we call it the civilization of Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia هو نهر دجلة والفرات because it grew in that area, in an area called the Fertile Crescent, الهلال الخصيب في العراق. كان هو منطقة انطلاق الحضارة أو منطقة انطلاق الحضارة السومرية. So now it wasn't easy to start a civilization. لكن it's sad. They had many problems. First of all, the problem of the flowing river. النهر كي كان يفيض, it used to destroy everything. So they had to start making ditches, خنادق, in order to cultivate the land and in order to stop the floods. Second of all, the city. There was a problem with the city. For example, this is the city. It was exposed. It was exposed to without natural barriers. ما كانش فينا حواجز. معناتها كان عليهم خطر كبير. So they started establishing a wall, great walls. تلقوا جدران كبيرة كانت تحيط مدينة أور. Great walls like this, and so on. Now inside the city, we have the heart of the city, القلب متاع المدينة, which is the temple, المعبد. Inside the temple, it's an institution. You will find the priests. You will find let's say, the president of the priests, كبير الكهنة. You will find a relationship between the priests and the gods, because at that time they used to believe in personification. They believe in something, but they try to personificate, يحاولوا يجسدوه على شكل صنم, so they can worship that person, or they can worship that figure of God. Now the priests had too much power. في ذاك الوقت, the priest used to be the king. He used to take actions and so on. But in the time of a war, the military leader becomes the king. Why? Because they need a military force, someone who can be the commander. Now after a period, بعد مدة, القائد العسكري شاف إنه he can be a king, يقدر يكون king, and he stopped the priest from being a king. ودخلنا فيما يسمى بالدينستي. Dynasty اللي هي السلالة. Dynasty is a series of rulers from one person, for example. تلقاهم سلسلة حكام من عائلة واحدة, or from one family. So this was our lesson for today about the Sumerian civilization, which flourished, but الحضارة عندها مقياس. It goes like this, then it goes down. Why? Because of the problems, invasions, internal problems and conflicts, صراعات داخلية على الحكم, الخطر الخارجي, and so on. And we witnessed, or we saw, how the Sumerian civilization vanished, أو اختفت, from the world because of the internal problems. I hope you liked this video about the Sumerian civilization. Please, if you have any questions, you can just put them as comments. تقدر تسألوا كتعليق أو تخلوا أسئلتكم كتعليق. Thank you.